Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the things we did not get to during the course of the show today. Might be a little bit of a quicker Aftercast today. I apologize. We have an interview scheduled with Shonda Pierce, the First Lady of Christian Comedy. And it's interesting. Like, I don't take a lot of comics on the show because I could talk about comedy all day long. Like, I love the science of it and the art of it, but not everybody gets that deep into it. And it's funny, though, like when comics have something going on in their life that's not necessarily about set them up for a joke that they're going to tell. I want to know that stuff. And like her story, there's like stuff I had no idea about, like hardship and stuff with her husband drinking himself to death. And it's like, oh, wow. But like last time we talked to John Christ, it was all about therapy and brokenness, you know. So I like have comics on and then we do all this serious stuff with them and don't do anything funny. So we're going to try and balance it out. We'll do something serious with her about that because I think it's an important conversation. But then we're also going to try to make sure we do something funny as well. So that's what we have going on today. Getting into a story we didn't get to, there's a lawsuit against the University of Delaware. You thought we were done with COVID, but not. We're still going to see things coming out as a result of that. So basically, you remember when COVID hit and colleges shut down. My daughter was in college at the time. She was in her last year, had to go all online, couldn't be at school anymore, couldn't have the benefits of college. She didn't get to walk for her graduation after 4 years of college. And after paying for 4 years of college, she walked and we all did. They did the best they could given all the government rules and stuff at the time, and they just had her face on a screen, and we all sat there in our house in our living room watching it.
Yeah. Just not the same.
It wasn't. Like, we all dressed up and everything, and she wore a cap and gown, and we made the best of it, but she didn't get to fully enjoy it. But I understand it was a time where we didn't know all the facts. The facts were changing, and we were really, I hate to use the term held hostage because then I sound like a prepper or I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but we were in some ways held hostage by the information that the government controlled and what they put out and the criteria that they set up. Well, this was interesting that there is a class action lawsuit against the University of Delaware that a judge ruled can proceed because basically people were saying, hey, I paid full tuition to come to this school, but then you kept me out of the school and I was not allowed to go and do all the things I was paying for, all of the the classes, all of the fun things and the things that you shut down. And usually when you have a most colleges now have an online program and they have an in-person. And they value the in-person. Like, the in-person is so much better and it's really important and that's why you're paying more for it. And then they went to all online. And so people that were paying for the in-person were like, well, why aren't we getting a discount? We should be getting a break. And I get that. Oh, yeah. But colleges were just trying to keep their doors open too. So I understand that. So basically, these 17,000 undergraduates that were enrolled in this college during 2020, the university collected $160 million in tuition. Like, what? So they still made their bank, and they had less outgoing because they didn't have to do all the things on campus. People were being laid off. People were not working there, and so they actually made more money during that time.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, and so that's what the plaintiffs are arguing, is that the pandemic basically did not treat it fairly and that they should be compensated for that. And then the college is saying, well, not all of them paid all of this money. They had scholarships and, but then they're arguing about, no, we had parents pay, we had loans. And so it's kind of a big mess. The interesting thing, though, this is, I think, what was interesting. This gets a little legal jargony. Is the plaintiffs are seeking a partial refund, and the judge ruled that the one that rejected the university's argument said that it expressly reserved the right to go online, but he noted that the plaintiff's right to restitution depends on the school's net enrichment. And this is what I thought was interesting. He said, if the University of Delaware got a greater benefit than the students when they went online, then it was probably unjust for them to keep the students' money, as that enrichment has no basis of a valid agreement. And so basically what he's saying is that if the school benefited, they made more money, had to spend less money, because they didn't have kids in school, then they profited, then the students have an argument because they were infringed upon. And I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting legal argument. And it's so much so that they are going to try the case. And that might be the test case for people all over the country that then get money back from their college tuition from COVID, So again, COVID, we're going to be dealing with the fallouts and the things that we're finding out too from COVID for years, now. And you still have supply shortages that still get blamed on COVID and all this other stuff. So I just thought that was kind of a interesting update on that situation. Lady Rock, what do you got, girl?
I got a list of the most disturbing movies millennial parents are showing their kids. So some of these movies I've seen, some of them, yes, they have messed me up.
Oh.
But they're so good. We're going to start with the first one. This is 1996 Matilda. Did anybody see Matilda?
I've seen the musical, the Broadway musical.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the movie.
But it's the same thing. It's the same story.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. It's the same story.
Well, it may not be as disturbing as the movie.
It's pretty disturbing.
Is it? Well, mainly what's disturbing about it is that there's neglectful parents, but also there's this evil teacher who likes to throw children by their hair and force feed them as punishment.
Yeah.
And so, and it does, it sounds a little bit scary.
You're heading for the turkey, young lady. Turkey? Teach you a lesson.
What lesson?
You and your father think you can make a fool out of me. The apple never rocks far from the tree.
Yeah, that would, if I was watching that as a kid, I'd be a little wigged out. Because I remember watching this as an adult going, oh, wow, that is not a good look. And it's things that you would actually call the cops on,
right.
now.
And there was like a little chubby kid that he was forced to have to eat blueberry pie or something like that. And it was just very odd. Another one, this is one I haven't seen. This was back in 1986, Labyrinth.
I think
David Bowie.
David Bowie, that's right. It had David Bowie in it.
Yeah, so the creepy part is there's a teenage girl. She calls out to the Goblin King to take her baby brother away, but then she instantly regrets it. She's not hearing him cry.
Toby, are you all right? Why aren't you crying?
Ew. Whoa. Is he dead?
The goblins came and got him.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And those are little puppets and stuff. The 80s were a weird time.
I never saw Labyrinth because I was not a David Bowie fan, and I'm like, this can't be good. And it turns out I think I was right. I walked out of Dune, not the new remake of Dune, but the original Dune. I'm like, this is stupid. I left. And I wanted to leave John Wick the other day. I went and saw John Wick. It is horrible. Horrible.
You know how I feel about the Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, I wanted to leave.
Gavin was like, it's the best movie ever, and you were too. And it was terrible. I wanted to leave. So you know how it feels.
Yeah, it was. It's super violent, and but it was the same violence. Like every time, it was the same set of flips and kicks, and the same thing. I'm going to shoot you right in the head. It was literally one scene of action and fighting that was just replicated, and it just got more and more people, and it got more and more ludicrous. There's this one scene where he has to get up 200 steps to get to the big duel he's got to get to. So he fights 87 people to get up the stairs. He gets all the way to the top. A guy throws him down 200 stairs. He rolls the whole way. That takes about 5 minutes. And then he gets up and then fights his way up and walks up the stairs. I've walked the flight of stairs here at the office, and I'm winded when I get to the top of one flight of stairs.
You can't compare you and
He's
Keanu.
John Wick.
Yeah, but I didn't have ninjas fighting me. I didn't have assassins fighting me, and I was still tired. It was so not even in the realm of plausibility that it was dumb.
But did you expect anything else?
Yes. I thought that maybe they had learned
from...
That's how
John Wick does it. And that's what people love to see. What some people love to see.
Well, I told my wife, too, I said, this movie would have been light years better if they made it more like Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible has all the action, and it's a little bit outside of plausibility, but you're like, okay, that's still based in reality. And this one was so far outside of that it's not...
But you knew
that's
that
what this whole thing. That's what John Wick is. It leans into this niche that is the absolutely absurd. Of course, the entire homeless community is not an actual mafia situation.
Well, we don't know.
We don't.
Yeah, but no, that's... But
that whole world is
I was
crazy.
hoping they learned from John Wick 3. I was hoping that they did something different in
for
John
your
Wick
sake,
4.
though.
Yeah, for me.
Your sake.
100% for me. But you said you didn't like it. I thought.
No, I loved it.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I understand the entire movie, which is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I find it very disturbing that there's so much violence.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's one of those
Especially
things
in this day and age.
In watching it, and full disclosure, like in watching it, and we just had the shooting in Nashville and things like that. It did give me pause where I watched it. I'm like, yeah, no wonder we don't.
We almost put like guns on this a different level because we go and watch this and we're like, John Wick is so cool and he shoots like he does it in a cool way.
Yeah, and it's no wonder that we have people that identify with that or idolize that.
And they romanticize
exactly.
it as like being this hero with a gun.
Absolutely.
And that's done in films as well as video games.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty.
It's all over our screens.
It's true. It's like I play Call of Duty, and I'm like the other day, same thing. I thought, man, it's weird. I'm playing this game where you're shooting, people in a war situation.
Play that game.
I know, and I'm really vexed on it because does it ever make me want to go do that? Absolutely not. But for somebody does it.
You should join the army or something.
Right, yeah.
And learn.
That still yields like certain results for guys who,
bad results.
go do it and they have trauma for the rest of their life. I would just say, hey, be less interested in guns.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That'd be nice.
Hey, you solved it.
Hey, look at me.
I want to get to this movie because this is the one that really hit home for me.
Messed you up.
It messed me up. And it still, when I was pulling audio for it, I teared up a little bit.
Did you really? Because you have no tear ducts.
Homeward Bound.
Or soul.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen Homeward Bound?
With the fox. No, that's Fox and the Hound. No.
Two dogs and a cat.
Oh, I've never seen it.
And they're separated from their owner. And so they go off to find him.
They become friends? Do they become friends?
They live in the same home.
They already are.
So they're already friends.
Yeah, they're already friends.
Good.
I've never seen this either.
But in this one situation, Shadow, he's the golden retriever. He's the oldest. He's the leader. The wisest. They're almost there.
Okay.
And all of a sudden...
Don't tell me Shadow gets killed.
They can't find Shadow.
No.
Chance and Sassy are like, where's Shadow?
No.
So he had fallen into a muddy pit.
Oh, no.
A hole.
Is he sinking?
And he broke his leg.
Oh, no.
I'm too old.
That's not true. There's nothing you can't do.
I have nothing more to give Chance. And it's time for you to be on your own.
No.
But I want you with me.
You've learned everything you need.
No.
Chance.
Chappie, no.
Now all you have to learn is how to say goodbye.
Oh, no. For kids? No. This is like Iron Eagle, just so you know.
Yeller.
And I love Iron Eagle.
Stop. Iron Eagle should not even be on the
It's the
same
same plot.
No, it's not. The good news is that miraculously, Shadow makes it out of the hole.
How's he get out?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't remember. It's been so long, and I've tried to wipe it from my memory. But he does make it to Peter because Chance and Sassy make it, and they're like so sad because Shadow's not with them. And then all of a sudden, you look around the horizon, and there is Shadow coming up around the bend.
Nice, limping.
And he's like, Peter, and Peter's like, Shadow.
And then he gets hit by a bus. Like, oh, Shadow's dead.
Oh my gosh.
There are things like, I mean, just think about Frozen for a second. Like the whole thing where, she's wrestling with her powers early on, and then they cut to that montage and her parents are killed in a shipwreck. You're like, oh. And they make a joke about it, like with Olaf, as he's especially in Frozen 2. But it's like there has to be tragedy. Bambi's mother dies. Like when you think about it, like to have the extreme good, you've got to have the extreme bad kind of thing. And some of this stuff is all kind of dark. Up when the mom dies in the first 10 minutes, like, oh my Lord.
It's heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, I think I've told this story, but in case you missed it, so I had a friend of mine that their grandma had just passed away. Family was in town, and they were going to have the funeral the next day. Well, so they got all the grandkids together, including my friend, and they all went to the movie to see the new Pixar movie Up.
No, they did not.
They're sitting in the theater. And they all started crying, and they had to leave.
That could not have been a worse movie choice.
But how do you know?
Right. Because I'm telling you, it's in the first 20 minutes where you're watching this like, okay, this is, no, oh, wow. And you're just like, I was a blubbering mess, man. It's crazy.
Rough.
My wife and I went as Carl and Ellie for Halloween. We were young Carl and Ellie. She wanted me to be old Carl.
Well, if she was going to be old Ellie.
You'd be dead Ellie. Yeah. So, all right, let's do it. Let's do this.
Ow.
Wow.
On that note.
All right,
excited.
hey, do you have any birthdays?
I don't, but I have a question.
We got time for it. Let's do it.
Okay. If Jesus had to create a username and password, what do you think he would set them as?
Oh, that's kind of
from
funny.
Melissa.
Oh, that's kind of funny. Jesus with a username and password. It would have 12 in it because of the disciples.
Or 3 because Trinity.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
Or 7 because, I mean, that's
perfect
3712 would be at the end of it.
What would his password be?
Do you think he'd be ironic, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
Manna's too easy.
That would be
like a
God's.
phrase.
That wouldn't be Jesus's.
It'd be so
Mr.
let it
J.
be written, so let it be done.
Alpha and Omega.
Oh, I got it. It's easy. This is easy. I am 3712.
All right.
Perfect.
That
Nailed
is
that.
good.
Because
No one's
he
guessing
said,
this.
I am the great I am. And that's what like the religious leaders, when he called himself I am, that's how he was nodding to them that I am God. And because that was a big thing inside of Judaism, was I believe that God the Father, said I am. And so when he said that, that was a delineating point for, you are being blasphemous to them, because that was saying I am God. And so, yeah, I am 3712.
You on coffee and trying to teach a Bible lesson
Pretty
is
good
like
stuff.
trying to watch a squirrel. And then this and this.
I think everybody got it, though. I think we're good.
You got the gist?
Yeah, I think we're good. All right, well, that is going to do it. We're going to go do our interview with Miss Shonda Pierce, which will run next week. If you missed any of our Josh Wilson interview, we're going to have that as its own podcast coming up. And if you want to see the video itself, if you want to watch the video of it, you can just text the word Josh to 91979, and we will gladly send you a link, because I'm real proud of that. It was a good conversation. It was the right amount of serious and funny. Like, I think it had a good blend of both, because I don't think you can live in either world with a subject about sobriety in and of itself, but you can walk in both of those, where you have moments that are like, oh, that's funny, and then moments where like, oh, that's heavy, and it should be. So if you want to check that out, again, Josh to 91979, and thanks for being a potty.